Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, why have I been learning English for so long and still can't speak fluently? Have you ever felt your throat tighten when trying to speak English, even though you understood everything in your head? The words you once memorized suddenly vanish. Your mouth opens, but your mind goes blank. You've heard people say, just keep practicing and you'll get better. But you have practiced, and yet the result is the same. That familiar feeling of embarrassment, confusion, and hesitation every time you face even a simple conversation. Have you ever started doubting yourself, thinking, maybe I'm not talented enough? Or worse, maybe I'll never be able to speak English fluently. If you've had those thoughts, I want you to know something. You're not alone. So many English learners find themselves stuck in that same place. They understand, but they can't speak. They study hard, but they forget quickly. They try to practice, but still feel nervous and unconfident in real-life situations. Slowly, they begin to accept a painful belief. Maybe English just isn't for me. But here's the truth. You are not wrong. You are not incapable. And yes, you absolutely can speak English fluently, even if you're learning alone, even if you don't have study partners, even if you're not enrolled in a fancy language center, and even if you're not living in an English-speaking country. The problem isn't you. The real issue is that no one ever gave you the right system to practice speaking. You're like someone trying to learn how to dance, watching videos every day, but never actually getting up to dance. Like someone studying how to swim, reading about the technique, but never stepping into the water. You've been learning English with your brain, but not training your mouth. You haven't been practicing speaking with real action, and that's the real reason you're not progressing. So stop blaming yourself. Don't use age, a busy life, or your environment as an excuse. The truth is, you don't need a native teacher. You don't need to go abroad. You don't need to be perfect from the start. What you do need is a speaking system that works. A simple, effective, practical method you can use every single day, even if you're learning completely alone. And here's the good news. That system is right here, waiting for you. In the next part, I'm going to share with you a clear and powerful method to help you speak English like a real speaker, sounding more natural, thinking faster, and step by step, turning English into a natural habit rather than a fear. This isn't just a hopeful promise. It's a promise from someone who has been exactly where you are and made it through. If there's even a tiny spark of hope left in you, hold on to it, because in the next part, you won't just discover a method to speak English, you'll rediscover belief in yourself. And that right there is the most important first step in mastering English. You can start today. Yes, you may be learning alone, but you are not alone in this journey. Practice number 1, mirror talk. Speak to yourself. Imagine a quiet morning, just you in the mirror, no one else around, no pressure, no judgment, just you, face to face with your truest self. And this very moment, simple as it seems, could be the key to unlocking your confidence, breaking through your fear, and finally speaking English with clarity and pride. This method is what I call mirror talk. Talking to yourself in front of the mirror. It might sound a little strange at first, but it's actually one of the most powerful and underrated ways to practice speaking English, especially if you're learning alone, without a partner, without a class, and without anyone to correct you. Because this method goes straight to the heart of the real problem most learners face: fear. Fear of being wrong. fear of not knowing grammar, fear of sounding silly, fear of being judged. But when you stand in front of the mirror, you're practicing with the one person who will never laugh at you, yourself. And here's the magic. Your brain and your mouth begin to wake up. Just like how a child learns to speak. Not from reading, not from grammar books, but from trying, failing, babbling, repeating, playing with words out loud until they make sense. Every morning, stand in front of the mirror, look into your eyes, breathe, and begin with something simple like, today is Monday. I'm going to the office. I feel a bit tired, but I will try my best. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need to sound like a native. The goal isn't to be flawless. The goal is to speak. Because speaking, even imperfectly, is the first step to breaking the silence that's been holding you back for far too long. And when you do this daily, something powerful happens. Your brain begins to absorb the rhythm of English, your mouth gets used to forming the words, and slowly but surely, you begin to believe in yourself. Let me tell you a story. A girl from a small countryside village once shared with me. The first day I stood in front of the mirror, I was so nervous. I could barely say a few words. I felt ridiculous. But I kept going. Every morning, I talked about what day it was, what I planned to do, and how I felt. Just 10 minutes. I didn't try to be correct. I just tried to speak. Sometimes I even used hand gestures, facial expressions, like I was acting in a little play. And then, after 30 days, I looked in the mirror and I couldn't believe it. I was speaking, full sentences, real thoughts, my own voice, in English. I felt proud. And most of all, I wasn't afraid of English anymore. That same girl, after just 1 month of speaking to herself every morning, had the confidence to walk into a job interview and answer all the questions in English. Not perfectly, but clearly. Not like a native speaker, but like someone who believes in herself. And that confidence, that's what got her the job at an international company. So can you do the same? Absolutely. You don't need to be more talented than others. You just need to be more consistent. Let mirror talk become your morning ritual. Wake up, stand tall, look into your own eyes, and speak. Talk about your day. Talk about your dreams. Talk about anything. Just talk. Every single day. No one becomes fluent overnight, but you'll be amazed at what small daily steps can do. And remember, when you practice in front of the mirror, you're not just practicing English. You're practicing courage. You're learning to trust your voice. You're becoming a stronger version of yourself, one who's ready to speak not only English, but their truth to the world. Practice 2. Record yourself and listen back to your own voice. Have you ever listened to your own voice and felt awkward, embarrassed, maybe even wanted to shut it off immediately? If so, congratulations. You've just touched the exact point that holds most English learners back. Not because you're learning the wrong way, but because you're afraid to face yourself. The truth is, most English learners speak, but never listen back. They repeat the same pronunciation mistakes, use clumsy sentence structures, speak either too fast or too slow, and they don't even realize it. Why? Because they've never truly listened to themselves, like a singer who keeps performing but never listens to their own recordings to spot where they went off key. That's why they stay stuck. But what if you dared to listen? Not just casually, but like a coach, carefully analyzing each word, each breath, each tiny error in your voice. All it takes is your phone. Just 2 minutes a day. Pick any topic, how your day went, a dream burning inside you, or even just a small story that happened today. Hit record and speak. No script. No pressure to be perfect. The only thing that matters is daring to speak, naturally, honestly, and clearly. Then comes the most powerful part. Hit play. Listen. Analyze. Ask yourself, how's my pace? Are there words I mispronounced? Am I repeating the same grammar mistakes? Don't be discouraged when you find errors. That's proof you're growing. The person who doesn't spot their mistakes will keep making them forever. Let me tell you a real story. A hotel receptionist in a small tourist town. His English wasn't bad, but he froze every time a Western guest arrived. He couldn't afford language centers. Had no one to practice with. So each night after finishing his shift, he quietly pulled out his phone and recorded himself speaking English for 2 minutes. A different topic every night. He listened back, realized he spoke too fast, misplaced the stress on words. He worked on it, day after day. And then, 3 months later, a group of Australian tourists walked in. He stepped forward, smiled, and said clearly and confidently, "Welcome to our hotel. Let me assist you with your check-in." They were impressed, and he knew that moment had changed his life. What about you? Are you ready to begin? You don't need anyone else. You don't need expensive courses, just you and your phone. You might feel awkward. You might think I sound terrible. But those moments, when you face the raw sound of your voice, are exactly when you begin to own it. Don't underestimate 2 minutes of recording each day. Because those 2 minutes can become the turning point for a whole new future. A version of you that is fluent, confident, and powerful in any English conversation. Try it. Listen back. Let yourself become your greatest teacher, because you deserve more than being stuck in the fear of speaking English. And your transformation can begin tonight with one small record button. Practice 3, shadowing, imitating native speakers. Have you ever listened to a native English speaker and thought, why can't I speak like that? They sound fluent, natural, rhythmic, and full of emotion. Meanwhile, you may stumble, speak with a stiff accent, and constantly pause to search for words. But what you might not know is this. The secret to sounding like a native speaker doesn't lie in vocabulary or grammar. It lies in shadowing, a simple yet incredibly powerful method. Shadowing, just like its name suggests, is the act of listening to an English sentence and immediately repeating it like a shadow. You don't translate. You don't stop to think. You just listen and then repeat instantly, copying everything. The intonation, the emphasis, the feeling, and the pace. The magic? When you do this consistently, your brain and your mouth start syncing with the rhythm and natural flow of the English language, just like how children learn to speak by copying their parents. Why is this method so effective? Because it trains multiple skills at once. Listening for understanding, pronouncing clearly, mimicking intonation for naturalness, and building confidence by speaking without hesitation. It transforms you from a textbook learner into someone who truly lives the language. So, how do you get started? It's simpler than you think. Choose a short video or audio clip, ideally between 30 seconds and 1 minute. It could be a scene from a movie, a motivational speech, a podcast segment, or an audiobook passage that you enjoy. Listen to one sentence, just one, then pause. Repeat it exactly, mimicking every detail, how they stress certain words, where they pause, the emotion in their voice. Repeat each sentence 3 to 5 times before moving on. For even faster progress, record your shadowing and compare it with the original. You'll be amazed at how your voice gradually starts to sound more and more native. Don't underestimate short clips. 1 minute of focused shadowing a day, done the right way, can completely transform your spoken English in just a few weeks. You'll speak more smoothly, more naturally, without mentally translating before you speak. A young woman once shared that she learned English solely by shadowing short scenes from animated movies. Every morning, she would mimic a 40-second conversation from a cartoon. She did this daily for 3 months. Later, during a scholarship interview, the examiner asked, "How long have you studied abroad?" But she had never been overseas. She had only shadowed. Shadowing doesn't require you to be good. It only requires consistency. Are you willing to try? Just 1 minute a day, one dialogue you love, one voice you admire, and one decision to not give up. Because every time you imitate, you move closer to becoming someone who speaks English with confidence, fluency, and authenticity. You don't need more vocabulary right now. You just need to be the shadow. And little by little, you'll become the light. Practice 4. Storytelling. Have you ever realized that what draws you into a person speaking English isn't perfect grammar or an impressive vocabulary, but the stories they tell? Stories make you forget you're learning. You simply listen, feel, and connect. That's the true power of storytelling. It's not just an exercise, it's a bridge between language and human emotion, between knowledge and lived experience. So, why is storytelling so powerful? Because when you tell a story, you use language in its most natural form. No more disconnected sentences. No more memorized structures. It's a flow of emotion, memory, and thoughts, expressed in English. As you tell a story, you're automatically using verb tenses, linking ideas, applying real context to the words. And you don't even realize you're practicing grammar because it feels like real communication, like how you use your native language. How do you practice storytelling effectively? Start with something close to your life. What did you do yesterday? Where did you go? Who did you meet? Was there a surprise? How did you feel? Every detail can be turned into a story. If you have trouble remembering, use a photo, an object, even a smell or a piece of music to trigger your memory. And if your day was completely ordinary, that's okay. You can always make up a story. Be creative. If I won the lottery, if I woke up in New York, or a strange conversation with a cat who speaks English. The most important thing is to speak with emotion. You don't need to be 100% grammatically correct. What you need is honesty and feeling. Whether you're happy, sad, angry, or excited, let that emotion flow into your voice. That's what makes a storyteller truly captivating. And when you practice storytelling, something amazing happens. Your brain starts thinking in English. No more translating word by word in your head. You begin forming ideas and sentences directly in English, just like you do in your native tongue. Here's a powerful tip. Record yourself telling a story. Then listen back. Ask yourself, is it clear? Are my sentences flowing? Do I sound expressive? With each recording, you'll notice improvement, not just in your English, but in how confidently and naturally you express yourself. Storytelling isn't just for people who are good at English. It's for people brave enough to try, to speak, to make mistakes, to tell small stories from their lives in a language that's still new. And that's what makes you powerful. Every story you tell brings you one step closer to fluency and freedom in English. Try it today. No script, no pressure. Just start with yesterday. Something strange happened. and let the story take you wherever it wants. Because you're not just learning to speak English, you're learning to tell your life in a whole new language. Practice 5. Pretend to be a teacher. Teach to learn. Have you ever noticed that the fastest way to truly understand something is to teach it to someone else? It's a secret used by top students, language masters, and even world-class athletes. When you teach, you stop being just a passive learner. You transform into someone who owns the knowledge, because you're not just remembering, you're organizing, explaining, and repeating the idea until it becomes second nature. That's why this practice, Teach to Learn, is one of the most powerful tools to accelerate your English. The method is simple, but the effect is deep. Imagine a student sitting right in front of you, maybe a friend, a classmate, or even your past self. Now, pick a small topic in English you've learned recently. It could be something as simple as describing your daily routine. I wake up at 7 a.m., I brush my teeth, I go to work. Or maybe you explain the difference between went and have gone. You could even teach a short grammar point like the past tense, how to form questions, or how to talk about future plans. Now speak out loud, as if you were a real teacher. Don't whisper, don't read from a book. Say it with confidence and clarity. Use your hands, your facial expressions. Explain slowly, step by step. Try to give examples. Pretend your student is confused. Explain again in a different way. You will be surprised at how much you understand when you force yourself to explain it to someone else. This practice trains your thinking in English. It pushes your brain to structure ideas, use grammar accurately, recall vocabulary quickly, and speak clearly. It's a full workout for your memory, your expression, your logic, and your confidence. And even better, you're not waiting for the perfect moment or for someone to help you. You're taking control of your learning. Here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be an expert. Even if you're still a beginner, you can teach the things you already know. That's the point. Teaching helps you strengthen what's already inside you. And every time you teach, you get a little clearer, a little faster, a little more fluent. So grab your phone, turn on the camera or voice recorder. Pretend you're making a lesson video. Talk about one grammar rule. Explain one word. Give one real-life example. Then replay it, reflect on it, and try again the next day. Over time, your speaking becomes more organized, your voice more confident, your English more alive. Remember, you don't need permission to teach. You don't need a classroom. You only need your voice, your knowledge, and your willingness to speak out loud. Because when you teach, you learn twice. And every time you act like a teacher, you're secretly becoming the kind of learner who doesn't just survive in English, you thrive in it. You don't need to wait for anyone. You don't need a teacher, a fancy school, or to be perfect. All you need is to start and do it again every single day. Imagine standing in a quiet room, no one around, no one judging, no one laughing, just you and your dream of speaking English fluently. That dream that's haunted you, the one that made you shrink in class, step back when a foreigner appeared, blush when someone spoke to you in English. How many times have you asked yourself, will I ever be able to speak like them? You're not alone. Many people feel the same. They've tried countless ways, apps, podcasts, memorizing vocabulary, but still they can't seem to speak out loud. Not because they're not smart, but because they're waiting for something, waiting to feel ready, confident, or for someone to join them. But the truth is, no one is coming. Readiness doesn't come on its own, and the person you've been waiting for is you. You are your best teacher, if you're brave enough to begin. Get up, look into the mirror, say out loud, I can. I will. I'm going to learn this. No one is laughing. No one's judging, because you're doing something most people don't dare, practicing alone. Start recording your voice, even if it's unclear or awkward. Tell a story, even if your grammar isn't perfect. Mimic a native speaker from a short movie clip. Copy their tone, emotion, and rhythm. Pick a simple topic and pretend you're a teacher explaining it in English. You can do all of this today, alone, for free, if you truly commit. At first, you'll feel silly. You'll feel uncomfortable, but with every practice, you'll notice something amazing. You'll begin thinking in English. Your reflexes will sharpen. You'll speak more naturally, more fluidly. You'll start to love your own voice and believe in your ability to communicate. And the best part? You did it by yourself. No classrooms, no tutors, no complicated grammar books. I know. On this journey, there will be days you're tired. Days you want to give up. Moments where you think, is this even working? That's exactly why Kunzy Podcast English exists, to walk with you, to remind you that you're not alone. Each podcast episode is a push of encouragement, a practical method, a timely message that helps you stay disciplined and inspired. Learning English is a long road, but you don't need to rush. Just be consistent. A little every day. Record your voice. Tell a story. Shadow a movie line. Teach back a lesson you just learned. And soon enough, that dream you thought was too far will be your reality. One day, you'll listen to your old recordings and laugh. Was that really me? That's the moment you'll realize you've made it. If you've read this far, it means you're serious. And I hope you won't leave without clicking like, sharing this with a friend who's struggling, and most importantly, subscribing to Kunzy Podcast English, because this is more than a channel. It's a source of energy, a place where we don't just teach English, we help you rewrite how you see yourself. From someone who used to hide to someone who now dares to speak, dares to make mistakes, dares to grow, and dares to shine. Are you ready? You don't need to wait. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start now. Do something small today and repeat it tomorrow. Fluency doesn't live in expensive courses. It lives in the tiny habits you repeat. And Kunzy will always be here to remind you, you're on the right path. Kunzy Podcast English, where solo learners become fluent speakers.